What's up guys, welcome back to the first video in well over a month, if not even 2 months by now. I realize it's been a wild roller coaster with my inconsistent upload schedule. I'll try to change that in the future. Now before we begin, I'd like to announce a few major changes to the channel's video quality, or at the very least, Oseos video quality. First of all, I'd like to present to you guys some new emojis. While I certainly enjoy the older ones, no doubt of that whatsoever, I feel as though these ones give me more room for expression at the right amount of quality where I can add any that I see fit to my radar of expressions, and I'd like to know what you guys think about these. Now, what exactly am I going to be tackling in this video? Am I gonna add some new crazy bug type, or add some crazy banana crocodile, or some out-of-this-world evolution to a completely underappreciated Pokemon? Well, sorry if this may sound disappointing, but I'm actually tackling one of the much needed things for this region: starter Pokemon. I know, trust me, I know. I've tackled starter Pokemon at least 2 to 3 times in their own separate videos, maybe even 4 if you count the one Blazorial redesign that I stuck in that one video of 2025. Yet I felt after the previous starter redesign video, it all felt a bit lacking to me in quality at the least. So we need to fix that now, right now. In today's video, I'll be tackling not just 3, not just 5, but all 9 of the Oseos starter Pokemon to be completely redesigned. Not because anyone asked me to, but because I want every single Pokemon in this region to feel like its own unique character. And what good is a character to any artist if the creator of said art can't be 100% happy with his own characters, especially the starters, which are a very significant part of every Pokemon region. Let's start off with the grass starter. These 3 wouldn't change phenomenally. In fact, these changes would be more of an upgrade in quality and rendering style to match that of my subsequent Pokemon art. Jumping off from Frostbloom, our first stage of the Grass Mantis line, I really just wanted to give it a new pose to give off that curious energy that I wanted to have so badly, and I think is definitely imbued in this new redesign. The biggest changes to this guy, however, was the new softer edges I added to limbs. Sure, it's a bug, and insectoids like the mantis and beetle have a lot of sharp edges and clean lines with thin antennae and small pupils, or even millions of small eyes that aren't even comprehensible to the human eye. But I feel as though when your goal is to make a starter Pokemon, especially as a bug, you need to make it so things like sharp wings and dagger-shaped claws are toned down enough to make it feel as though it could be loved by children. After all, this is a mainly children-friendly franchise. I'll say that 10 times fast. Oh, and there's another quick announcement. I've actually created an updated Pokédex page for the Oseos Fakemon, and I'll admit I'm a lot happier with how this one turned out, but you guys can let me know what you think of it. Frostbloom, the petite mantis Pokemon. Using its bright orange, goggle-like eyes, Frostbloom can see through the heaviest blizzards. Its vision in the frigid mountains of Oseos is why it's the top pick for miners and mountain climbers. It can even survive in these temperatures below freezing by heating up its antennae and eye appendages. About as subtle as Frostbloom, Aleef's redesign wasn't much more than a repose and an update in quality. The original Aleef pose seemed very stiff, with not much expression in the design. To be honest, it felt more like an annoyed child wearing a mask and oven mitts than an alert, speedy mantis in snow goggles. The lack of insectoid features was by far my biggest problem, followed by the pose not resonating as a quick-minded ninja of the snow. So, in my redesigned sketch, I went for something like that of a spinning pose, after a few failed attempts, of course. One that only a sharp, alert insect could be in. I left the eyes more or less as is. I actually liked the squinty look they gave off, and I almost changed that, but I'm really glad I didn't. I think it adds a lot of life and unique character to this stage. The arms and legs were the biggest change I made, excluding the rendering and previous inquiry, of course, as I made them softer and much more insect-like, much like that of Frostbloom. I'm a lot happier with how the arms look now, and after rendering with what I now know about ice rendering techniques, I'm 100% happy with this design. No changes from this guy, at least not for a while. Aleef, the snow mantis Pokemon. Aleef are now more alert and ready for action. Its claws have become fully covered in ice and are much heavier, but also much stronger. Upon evolving, Aleef now has better vision in blizzards, stronger abilities, and is faster than ever before. It usually resides in cold caves on mountaintops, and will sometimes leave its claws in freezing water to help boost its power. For Frigitis, the final stage of this line, my biggest problems with it were the following: the lack of personality in the face and body language, the tacked on skis on the feet and how they don't show any value to the design itself, the lack of interesting rendering on the ice and how it looks more like a water and grass type than a grass and ice type, the boring shape on the head and goggle mantis eyes, the antennae felt very uninteresting, and how the ice was rendered, of course. All of these, in my personal opinion, were fixed in its new rendition. I was actually sketching the redesign in my literature class, as I tend to do when our current book is the Odyssey. If you know, you know. In this sketch, I drew it with a much bulkier persona and a happy yet confident face, almost as if it doesn't mind the fact that at any given moment it may drop straight into the rocky and icy terrain if one of its limbs are in the wrong position, because let's be real, Pokemon disregards all laws of physics, which is perfectly fine considering it's a fantasy game, but still, it's something fun to think about. Concept-wise, I love that I combined two things that I don't really find personally appealing and made them into one of my favorite Fakemon yet, those being bugs and skiing. I live in one of the most renowned places for skiing in the entire world, yet I don't personally enjoy the sport. Yet, when you make something like skiing with an already strange combination of a bug, which, let's be real, a bug and ice type is not exactly something that you would appear to be good for a grass starter, let alone a concept in general, you can make something so visually appealing that you find yourself even surprised. Now that being said, praying mantis are actually one of the only exceptions to this rule, as I'm quite fond of the little guys, but this is still a great learning opportunity for all of you guys, including myself, that even if you have two prompts which you find both unappealing, turn them into something that is so odd and unexpected you even find yourself loving the design even more for your remarkable accomplishment. Frigitis, the Ice Blade Pokemon. With its giant claws of ice, Frigitis can slice through almost anything, as its claws are as hard as steel and will grow stronger the longer it spends in icy weather. Frigitis can use its claws and unique ice skates to climb mountains and cliffs easily. Furthermore, it can slope down mountains as fast as a lightning bolt. The unique ice blades on its feet can be used to ski down mountains or drift across ice. Despite its impressive weight of the ice on its body, its vision, much like Blazorial, is heat-based, giving it the ability to see through storms and blizzards, so much so, in fact, that its molted exoskeleton in the eye areas of this Pokemon are converted into sunglasses around Ossios, and are quite popular for fashion statements. Moving on, we have my personal favorite of the starters, the Fire Snake line. Now, when I say quote-unquote favorites, I don't exactly refer to the design perspective itself. In fact, I actually have a lot of problems with the current designs of these guys. I call these guys my favorites because the prompt for these snakes is Red Fiery Serpent, with that not only being my favorite animal and color scheme, but is also just a very fun concept in general. Very laid back, very lacking in thought process, and I just love that about it. It's a simple concept that I wish was better in the illustration aspects, which is why I'm redesigning them yet again. I love snakes, there's really no getting around that. Yet, as much as I love the animals, I always felt like this starter line never did them as much justice as they deserve, at least from my perspective. The difference between the grass and water starters from these guys is Charcoral being 8 years in the making. The original concept came to me way back in 2018 and was later redesigned twice in 2019 on paper. Then I got my iPad in late 2024 for my birthday and have redesigned the Pokemon probably around 5 to 6 times since then. This redesign of Charcoral, or rather Flamattle as it used to be called, is not simply a repose. This last rendition would be a homage to all of my previous Fire Starter snake designs with its own unique flair added on. I really just wanted a chunky little coral snake with a big expression showing its vibrant personality and hunger for, well, a lot of food. An excessive amount of food. I feel like I've accomplished everything that I wanted to in this new design while not even changing an excessive amount of the original concept or design principles. I think that's really strong when you're an artist who feels like they've grown enough to redesign a Pokemon or design in general that they feel like could be better with their new modern tactics and techniques. Charcoral, the Burn Bite Pokemon. Charcoral has unique flammable appendages on its body that can ignite when scraped on sharp or hard objects. Its jaw hinge can hyperextend to the point where it can swallow anything that it craves. This Pokemon is the easiest starter of the three to make friends with, as it is incredibly food motivated. Its tongue is always heated and can cause burns and singe marks with a touch of its saliva. Blazorial, or Smolderash as it's now called, is by far the largest change in all 9 of these starters, or is at least tied with the water starter's middle stage as well. This stage was supposed to be the growth stage, as of course most middle stages are. It's the in-between from a cute, hungry baby to a menacing, deadly serpent that honestly gives no mercy. The previous illustration left me feeling as though it didn't have much emotion, only gave a vacant stare to its enemies. The thing I'm most proud of in this new portrayal is how I rendered the fire. Fire has always been a struggle for me, and I'm proud to say that I am so happy with how the flame came out in this stage. I added pink for some reason, don't ask me why, but it actually helped the flame a lot, and ended up making it look more unique, and spreading it between the average fire of none in the first stage and the fire that will be in the final stage. The eyes were much like that of Charcoral's, but with more of a slit like cats or lizards have in the pupil. Some species of snake have this, of course, and to show its compassion was still there, somewhere hidden under those more threatening reptilian eyes, is the reason that the eyes are very similar. I think it's great to include things like this in Pokemon designs, as it can show the growth over time, yet enough to where it differentiates from its previous design, while showing a connection that could only have happened via the growth of itself and the others around it. The Flame Mohawk was something that I actually took from not only the previous design, or even the previous designs, but the first one that I made back in 2018 alongside the original Charcoral. At the time, the middle stage was known as Cobrillion. It was a longer and much more demanding persona, giving it a moody teen emo vibes with its large flame mohawk, bags under its eyes, and punk rock aesthetic. I don't really know where I was going with the punk rock aesthetic, so I did kind of ditch that, but in the long run, it did make the design a lot better. The previous designs had never had any sort of base for the concept besides large red snakes in all 3 of the evolution designs. In these 3 new redesigns, I actually added on to the concept, which I'll share more about in the final stage. But for now, here's Smolderash, the Pyro Pokemon. Not only has its appearance changed, but Smolderash now has a much more antagonistic personality, bashing random foes and picking fights with Pokemon much stronger than itself. It uses its flame mohawk to show off its capabilities and can even ignite the charcoal blade at the end of its tail, creating a large flame-enshrouded blade. Its fangs can dig into trees and rocks with ease. As the moment the fang sinks in, Smolderash heats them up enough to melt whatever the target is, or just enough to stun the opponent, giving it the chance to strike with its fiery weapon. Not sure if it's too complicated, or if it just doesn't look like a starter, but whatever the case, the final stage of this line might be my favorite Fakemon I've ever created thus far. Turning the older dragon face from the previous art into something that is more structured like that of a serpent made this fire snake the more visually appealing monster that I've ever drawn. With 2 large fangs and a sinister smile, followed by its blazing eyes and shining crown of charcoal and gold, are all big things which play into the part of this reptilian beast. The whole concept, which I've altered as I previously stated, is now a dark, large, fire-type coral snake mixed with the infamous boa and cobra. The concept represents Aboriginal times and how men first discovered fire. Yes, fire was helpful and powerful for carving weapons and torches, much like how Blazorial is useful in battle, which were essential tools back in the day, mind you not. Despite that, this snake also represents the darkness and wildness of fire, showing its mass destruction and partially representing the evil it displays, similar to the widely known mass forest fires of Australia many years ago, which burned down countless wildlife homes. So, in a nutshell, just to keep it brief, it's a red and black sinister fiery snake which is how you get me to love any design, by the way, no matter what style it is. And after all those redesigns, Blazorial is now the best it's ever been, the cleanest it's ever been, and probably the best it ever will be, unless I decide to redesign it again, hopefully by the end of this year if I choose so. Blazorial, the Imperium Pokemon. Many trainers are surprised to see their once small, cute, and happy Charcoral become this despicable beast. Blazorial wraps around its opponents, squeezing the life out of them until they faint. It uses its large, charcoal weapon-like tail to keep its foes still as it charges volcanic energy to bite the opponent with impressive force. It can inflame its back and chest to create an impressively large fiery hood. Its fangs can retract and sink into things at surprising length to the point of piercing solid steel like butter. The venom contained inside its fangs is unlike any other serpent Pokemon. The venom consists of a lava-like, stunning liquid that can paralyze the target by burning them internally. Not enough to cause permanent damage, but enough to slow the enemy down, for it to win the battle with its final strike. And last but certainly not least, we visit our little flippered friends, the heir with the hair, the favorited Platypool line. Now, personally, I love the Platypool line. I think it's unique and fun, it inspires others, and shows a wide variety of Australian culture that we've all come to, I guess, be stereotypes about, especially as Americans, with the "g'day mate" and all that. But overall, I do think this line needs some changes that I think everyone here will agree are deserved. From the previous inquiry that I've gotten in comments from the video about starter redesigns, I got a lot of feedback stating that while it would be more interesting to use the Platypool for the pseudo, this was the most believable looking starter. And for those who are saying that, oh boy, if you thought this old design was believable, the new one is going to blow your mind, because this is definitely the best looking starter out of all these. I think the most aesthetically pleasing in my opinion is the Serpent, but the most starter looking is definitely the water line. Platypool doesn't seem to have too much going on. In fact, it's one of my favorite things about it. It's a simple design that expresses the typical Aussie culture while still being a simple little guy. In these last few months, I've actually learned a lot about platypuses, or platypi? Whatever. The point is, let's just say I've done my homework on these fuzzy freaks. Not only do they have electroreceptors in their beak that allows them to know where and when predators are around them or if prey is nearby, but they also have unique substances in their fur that let them glow under UV light. Why? What purpose would this have? While I can't answer that directly, I'll let you guys on a little secret. Because it's in Australia. Point is, God really sent all his monstrous failed experiments to Australia, which is the main reason I chose this fun hellish spot of land as my region's base. Moving back to Platypool, the updated render was honestly just a repose with slightly better rendering, better shading, and some subtle updated features like the pattern around its eyes, and the eyes themselves converted into something similar to Squirtle or Eevee for that matter, which I personally think suits the design a lot more. Platypool, the tiny swimmer Pokemon. Platypool are very friendly and social, able to win anyone over with just a glimpse of them. Its tail acts like a propeller, moving in a circular motion to swim as fast as a jet ski. Its fur is waterproof and contains a unique oil that prevents water from staying on Platypool. Its beak can detect movements in the water from miles away with the electroreceptors in its beak, letting it know when to swim away or close in on prey. Under certain blue lights, Platypool has the unique ability to glow bright green in the dark due to its diet and unique toxins generated in its body. Now, go back a little bit when I was designing the new Smolderash, aka the middle stage of the Firestarter line. I stated that its difference when compared to its older form was similar to that of Platypool's middle stage, the middle stage being Venoplat. Venoplat's original design, well, I'll admit, it was a bit rushed. I had an idea in mind, but I was too much in a rush to pursue the visuals in my head, so instead, I made a blue Donald Duck with a beaver tail. I don't know why I made it look like this, and in the new render, I really just wanted to change every little detail about this guy. My main idea was to lean into the showboaters in the Olympics, the overly buff guys with too much confidence for their own good. I gave it a much thicker pair of arms and sleeker hair, with a lot more bulky proportions. While it isn't poison type yet, I gave it some purple spurs under its forearms and some purple at the end of its hair to hint at its future evolution's dual typing. Other than that, the design principles of the concept stayed the same, but the colors were amplified to be more eye-catching, and the eyes were basically closed and showed a faint pink hue. I'm so glad that the stage is finally how I envisioned it, and I think it really looks like a starter, but you guys have to let me know what you think. Venoplat, the swift stinger Pokemon. Venoplat are often arrogant and take on more than they can handle because of it. It hides poisonous spurs in its fur, spiking them out when threatened. The spurs can paralyze the enemy and even leave them fainted with one jab. Venoplat are major showboaters and enjoy flexing their muscles in front of others as a power move to prove their strength. Its tail has extreme force that can create a wave of massive friction in the water. Under one circumstance, a Venoplat splashed a wave of water with such incredible force that the impulse of the water was fatal. Last but by far not least, the cherry on top, the piece of resistance, Platoxium. Platoxium's concept is concrete, and I love that about it. A rich Olympic swimmer with great hair and an outstanding pair of genetics who's always out for a challenge. I know it's way too stereotypical to have a poison/water type Australian Fakemon starter, but I think my design differs enough from that of the others to call it a unique concept on its own. Besides the new proportions and top-heavy nature, plus the poison add-ons and much better design principles, the overall base for the new render isn't that different from its previous perspective. The tail is much more noticeable and has some toxic liquid at the end of it, always ready to leap into the air, almost as if it's ready to splash this poison at its opponents. The fists were now probably the focal point of the design, and I even added these new pearl-looking oval shapes inside the fists, showing its toxic abilities. I imagined it can almost be like a Mega Man of sorts, where it just points the big fists at its opponent, and then boom, big toxic bullet right in the chest, and then that probably does like a lot of damage. That could be a really cool signature move, actually. The legs and feet were changed to be more stable and immovable. I made the flippers feel like not only a part of the creature's anatomy, but also made it feel like it was partially mixed with artificial flippers. I feel like everything in this new design is so clear and concrete, enough to seem like a believable starter, even more so than the other evolution lines, yet it differs enough from every other starter to make it feel like its own character by itself. While it wouldn't be my first choice in an Osseous playthrough, in fact it would actually be probably my third choice, it is certainly a design that I'm proud to have created. Platoxium, the poison athlete Pokemon. Platoxium are built for fast swimming, using its big flipper feet, flat tail, and strong arms. Platoxium can swim up to 80 miles per hour with ease. Its poison spurs can extend at will, jabbing the opponent with a poisonous sting that can lead to bad injuries or worse. The most skilled Platoxium have a unique fighting style which can be mastered with the right training. This strange battle style consists of sharp movements, leaping out of the water and using their toxic fists to form venomous blades. Platoxium are known for their athletic abilities and enjoy competing for which trainer has the best and most fit Platoxium. These contests are famous in Osseous and are a major event every year. And after all that, I'm finally done with the redesigned starters for my hypothetical Gen 10. Wait, since there's a Gen 10 teaser and that came out, is this Gen 11 now? I don't know. Well, I'm glad that I can finally say that all 9 of my starters are as good as they can be. At the moment, I have no problems with any of the current designs, and I hope they won't overgo any changes in the future. But, as you all know, my style is constantly changing and improving, so who knows? If I am tempted to make more changes later down the road, I will. But I'm currently very satisfied with each and every one of these amazing Australian starters. And if I didn't mention it earlier, each of these starters now has their own individual ability. Black Body Flame, I think it's Cryo Carapace, and Venom Wake. Each of these has their own respective unique abilities that are just for the final stages of the Osseous starters. And if you're curious, join the Discord server and I'll give more information on those later. Be sure to have a great day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. And again, be sure to join our Discord for the latest updates, notifications, and more. Don't forget to check out my Fiverr page. I'm doing commissions again, so you can find the link in the description. Have a great rest of your day, never stop trying, and never stop inspiring others. Rex out. Peace.